Hello again, everyone. Thanks so much for your support in my first video. I'd like to try to follow it up now with another one. I'd like to try to talk about a little more about what I mean about Declaration of Demands, and also how I think we can go about, or we must go about, taking back our own power. And so I'm going to use an incident that happened to me today, just a few hours ago. I was walking my dog in a park, about half mile up a trail without a leash. And an elderly woman came around the bend with an elderly dog. And I made my dog stop, sit down. I leashed him up, and on a short section, proceeded to walk past this woman. From behind me, I hear a voice. "Looks like you got away with it." I turn around. About 10 yards behind me is a CHP officer. Mind you, half mile up a dirt trail in a park, coming to bust me for not having my dog on a leash, undoubtedly because some Karen. So I turn around and I say, "Excuse me?" And he says, "Well, it looks like you had your dog off a leash, but I can't prove anything, so it looks like you got away with it." And I looked down on my log and I said, "Looks like." And he says, "You know it's a $500 fine for walking your dog without a leash." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "And you know that dog's coyote bait, so for his own safety, you should put him on a leash." And I said, "Thanks." And I left, and he left. So now let me try to break this down for you, okay? I was walking my dog without a leash, as I have declared I would, because I believe I do not need to walk my dog on a leash. But I must walk the walk if I'm going to talk the talk. If I believe my dog doesn't need to be on a leash, I must have control of my dog and respect of others. And understand this here. There's no such thing as altruism, okay? I do not have respect for others because I respect them. I have respect for others because I respect myself. I respect my principles. I respect the fact that I had made a declaration to myself and the world that I do not need to have my dog on a leash because I can control my dog and have respect for others. Okay? Now, if we think we want to take back the power, our own authority, then we need to take the responsibility. You know that Spider-Man phrase, with great power comes great responsibility. Well, it works the other way too. With great responsibility comes great power. So if you want the power to control your own destiny, to control your government and your affairs, then you need to take the responsibility. And when you do, notice the power that it has. Understand this. Without even knowing, he was behind me, like Schrodinger's cop, through my own free will, by taking the responsibility to control my dog and having respect for others. I completely eliminated the purpose of that police officer before he ever said a word to me. His reason for being there, because I took care of it myself. And so if you don't want the police, then police yourselves. Okay? Now I'd like to digress for a second into policing yourselves and just go on a little bit of a rant about how utterly dysfunctional and divergent some of your friends and neighbors and coworkers and possibly bosses have become. And I'm going to segue from the dog walking into picking up after your dog. Never mind my policy. What kind of person does it take to feel compelled by society to be responsible to pick up their dog's feces only to put it into a plastic bag and drop it right there in the same place with no responsibility towards and an utter disregard of the exact same societal compulsion that made you bend over and pick it up in the first place? Excuse my language, but that is straight fucked up, people. And anybody who displays that kind of thinking, I don't want them participating in this magical thing we call freedom. Okay? Going back to what I said about responsibility. You have to show that you have what it takes to participate in this thing called freedom. You want the power, take the responsibility. Thanks.